video today is the San Rafael Swell. I've wanted to go into this area since about 1989 when I first saw it in a Jeep magazine. They talked about how remote it was and what cool sights there were there. And it only took me 35 years to get here, but I figured I was so close I was going to come see it. Of course, when you're in this area, you have to go see Goblins State Park. I had my grandkids with me, and it's a beautiful, fun thing for them to do. And we saw all of these cool rock formations known as the Goblins, and we had a lot of fun here. And right around the corner from this, about 7 miles away, is Little Wild Horse Canyon. You can hike about 10 or 11 miles up the canyon, and it's a slot canyon, and of course the kids had a lot of fun there, so we had to do that.
What do you think, Catherine?
It's awesome. Go wild, it's calling. There's not echo yet. It does in some places. I found a place to sing in here. Yeah.
One thing that has followed me around is that at lunchtime, I can always find shade. My brother joked in Arizona that this Montana boy always finds shade. And it's true. I don't like to sit in the sun and eat my lunch. I like to find shade. Since I really only had part of a day here, I decided long in advance that I would do the Temple Mountain Loop, which runs up past the old Temple City, and it runs around the mountain and comes down the other side through North Temple Wash. There's Indian drawings along the walls. These drawings were primarily done by the Fremont Indians, the Paiute, and the Ute. And there's a number of them that are really cool to look at. We had to stop and look at some of the drawings, of course. The San Rafael Swell is 75 miles long by 40 miles wide, and it's a typical anticline made of limestone, sandstone, and shale. And it's like it pushed up and it popped the bubble, and so you have all these sharp ridges, just like broken eggshells almost, it looks like, with the layers of rock standing up on end. And you kind of wind through these, and there's arches back in here. Like I said, there's Indian drawings, and apparently there was some uranium mining going on too. The trail itself is pretty easy. I'd give it a 2. I don't think I would want to take a regular all-wheel drive on it, at least in the last section before we got to Temple City on the rocks. It was pretty sharp rocks and pretty steep uphill. There's a lot of dispersed camping available for you in the swell. We noticed different camp groups down off of this road and that road down in the valleys. We were there on the weekend, and even though we saw some people camped, we really didn't run into anyone except for one motorcycle on the trail. We ran the whole loop without coming across any other vehicles. Temple Mountain looks extremely beautiful on one side, but as you start to round the corner, you notice that the whole thing is crisscrossed with mining roads. There's holes going in and out and all over this poor mountain, and it looks like a piece of Swiss cheese from one side. It turns out that the first mining that was done here was in 1898, and I don't recall what it was they were mining, but later, around 1914 through 1920, people were mining radium. And then from there, in 1948 to 1956, they began to go after that prized substance of uranium. The uranium mine at the Temple Mountain site was extremely pure uranium. Rumor has it that it made it all the way into the hands, went all the way overseas to France, where Madame Curie, the Nobel Peace Prize, the woman who won that award, was studying nuclear fission and nuclear reaction. And then supposedly she even came and stayed in one of the houses at Temple City and went in to examine where the uranium was coming from this site as well. There's still artifacts and such around the mines. We, of course, just took a hike and we walked up to look in the mouth of the mine. You are greeted by signs telling you that there's radiation coming from the mines and that you shouldn't go in there or breathe the air. So we just kind of peeked around a little bit, took our pictures, and walked back off the top of the hill down to the town site. The main thing that had got my curiosity up about this road, besides I saw that there were some historical sites on it, was the canyon at the end. The North Temple Wash, when you look at it at Google Earth, you can just tell that it's going to be cool, that you'll be driving your Jeep in the bottom of a canyon with hundreds of feet tall walls on either side of you. And it didn't disappoint. It was a really neat thing to see at the end of the trail. Like always, thanks for watching, and if you want more of this content, be sure that you like and subscribe. You can click the bell if you want, and it'll alert you whenever I have new content posted. But again, thank you for watching. I love to share our adventures.